Offer the finest selection of products that cater to your every need. From groceries to household essentials, our shelves are stocked with quality items that are sure to impress. And guess what? We're not just great for wholesale, we're also your go-to place for all your food service needs. Located right opposite the Immigration Department on King George V Street in Roseville, we take pride in providing.
NCC Limited. Already have a mortgage? Don't leave your pocket empty. There is life beyond the mortgage with your community financial partner.
Good afternoon. This is the Midday News for today, Tuesday, May 7th, 2024. I am Richie Farrell. Here are the headlines. Dominicans are angry at the new increases in monthly water charges, but DOWASCO Chairman Louis Patrick Hill says the decision to implement a water guarantee charge on consumers is justified. In sports news, national football coach Ellington Sabin extends support to the players of the Dominica national football team after their performance in the recent friendly match on May 5th, where they lost 2-0 to St. Vincent.
Happens when it happens, wherever it happens. Local.
Haitian-based airline Sunrise Airways is reportedly set to expand into the Eastern Caribbean.
Right on cue.
With intra-regional flights connecting 4 Eastern Caribbean destinations. Those destinations are Antigua, Dominica, St. Kitts, and St. Lucia. And Donald Trump's hush money trial continued in New York.
Top of the hour.
With the third week of witness testimony amid allegations that Donald Trump may have burnt documents to avoid leaving evidence behind. The news brought to you with the very kind compliments of Courts Dominica Limited. We'll be right back after this.
You've been putting off. Do it today with a loan of up to $20,000 from Quartz Ready Cash. No collateral needed. Flexible payment terms and fast approval. All you need is your ID, proof of address, job letter, payslip, and 2 references. Visit your nearest Quartz Ready Cash location today or apply online at Quartz.com. Why wait? Get it done today at Quartz Ready Cash. We are ready when you are. Conditions apply.
Welcome back. Chairman of DOWASCO, Louis Patrick Hill, says the decision to initiate a water guarantee charge on the populace is justified. This as some members of the public are disgruntled that DOWASCO increased general monthly charges by the following: EC $800 for large businesses, $175 for medium businesses, $100 for small businesses, and $15 monthly for domestic customers. These additional monthly charges will take effect on June 1st, 2024.
We must replace and replenish the stocks of the company, and that requires a lot of money. With the advent of COVID, the supply system was really affected, and so we have to pay upfront for supplies. There was a time back a few years ago when we could order things, installment payments. Nowadays, all of the people who are supplying these parts to the company want money upfront. So we have find ourselves in a position where the revenues of the company cannot meet the expenditures that we have on a monthly and annual basis. For the last 3 years, we have been way under budget. So what has happened? We have a very low stock of supplies. If we have a hurricane this season, if we don't replenish, we'll have serious problems because we will not have the parts on hand that we can simply go to the store and pick them up and repair the systems that we did after and after. So it is critically important for us to have stocks. Our employees, like all of the other employees of the government and other private sector employees, require pay increases, require uniforms, require all of the things that employees need in order to successfully and efficiently do their jobs. We have to continue to do that, and we have to provide for the employees who provide the service.
Chairman of DOWASCO, Louis Patrick Hill, Environmental scientist Dr. Dave Lloyd has raised concerns about the handling of developmental projects in the country, suggesting that the Environmental Impact Assessment (EIA) process is frequently disregarded, particularly depending on project leadership. According to Lloyd, the EIA is a crucial tool designed to guide development projects by assessing the project's location, its potential environmental impacts, and how these impacts can be mitigated during implementation.
There's provisions in the law to protect the environment, and there's a requirement for an environmental impact assessment, which would actually tell us before we actually embark on any infrastructural projects, we would have to have those considerations. People who know about the soil and assess what are the likely harmful impacts of that activity, and then you provide accordingly to minimize them as much as possible or eliminate them where you can, so on. But it takes a lot of planning, and what we see happening is things are happening haphazardly, and that process is bypassed according to who is doing it. I've been involved in working on environmental impact assessment in Dominica, and sometimes what you find is that the interest in having that done is by the external party. So, for instance, I will give you, I worked on the construction of a jetty at Sufria doing the environmental impact assessment, and it was funded by the technical corporation, they call them GIZ, okay? And it was on the insistence of the GIZ that an EIA had to be done, okay?
Lloyd emphasized the prevailing situation in Dominica, where several sizable developmental endeavors with notable environmental ramifications are initiated without conducting environmental impact assessments. This, he suggests, underscores a lack of acknowledgement and understanding regarding the soil composition of the project implementation sites.
But we see other structures, much bigger, going up with much more larger environmental footprints. And they are going up with it being done without proper consideration for the soil type. These are things that we need to improve on. So we have different levels of the problem. At the local farmer level, at the homeowner level, right, landowner level, but also on the national level, where we need to take stock, how we treat the soil. So there are a number of issues. And one thing we have to start on too is the vulnerability of Dominica. Dominica is located in the middle of the island chain, right? Hurricanes, are always frequent, or the effects of hurricanes are always frequent. We are a country that is very mountainous with high rainfall, very, very high rainfall, okay? Above 5,000 millimeters per year. I mean, our neighbors, we are probably, not probably, it's been stated that we are the only water surplus country in the at least in the Eastern Caribbean area, okay?
Environmental scientist Dr. Dave Lloyd. The Dominica Freedom Party DFP has paid tribute to the late Philip Nassif, describing him as a vital figure in Dominican society, particularly for his efforts in revitalizing numerous industries and sectors, notably the coconut sector, which saw a surge in high-value end products under his influence. Dominica Freedom Party leader Bernard Ito emphasized Mr. Nassif's instrumental role in fostering economic growth and development within the Dominican economy.
We thought it was very important that, at the very least, the Freedom Party recognized Mr. Nassif. He was a pillar, a very important pillar of Dominican society. He transformed so many industries, really transformed our coconut output into a high value end product for his soaps and so forth, and was really instrumental in kicking off sort of an industrial boom for a minute there in Dominica. In fact, probably one of the best well-known industrial products that Dominica has ever had. And as you say, he was a very close friend of the Freedom Party. He believed in the spirit of the Freedom Party, the values, the approach, the governance style of the Freedom Party. He believed in as people before power, and he subscribed to that. And he was a very, very ardent supporter and one of the foundations not only of our society, but certainly one of the foundations of the Freedom Party. And so we recognize and salute his life, his legacy, which continues through his children, who are still very prominent businessmen here in Dominica. And we just needed to take the time to do that. As we said, when someone has made such a contribution to the island, who have really been somebody who has built a foundation for future Dominicans, for ourselves, for our children, for our grandchildren.
Ito emphasized the significance of acknowledging and honoring individuals who have made substantial contributions to Dominica's development, citing Mr. Nassif as a prime example.
It's very important, if we are a civilized nation, if we are a progressive nation, that we take a minute to recognize those people and to acknowledge the tremendous contribution that they have done. And so we want to again salute Mr. Nassif and his family for the wonderful contributions and the very good Dominicans, hardcore, solid Dominicans that they have been through, been in their tenure here on the island. And so, as you rightly said, and as the statement rightly said, we fully recognize him, and we want it to be on the record in the media and elsewhere, recognizing Mr. Nassif for his outstanding contributions to our nation.
And that was leader of the Dominica Freedom Party, DFP, Mr. Bernard Ito. Following Q95 News' exclusive report on the WhatsApp scam affecting Dominicans, with one of the victims being the executive director of the Achievement Learning Center and Circle of Friends, Ms. Beverly LeBlanc. Executive Director of the National Regulatory Telecommunications Commission, NTRC, Mr. Craig Anesti, reconfirms the WhatsApp scam and advises caution to Dominicans about the scheme. Speaking to Q95 FM radio on Friday, Craig Nesty revealed that he was almost scammed by the same group. However, during the phone interaction with the fake identity being used by the scammer, he was able to identify that the interaction itself was with a hacker and did not entertain the scam artist further.
I'm aware that there's telephone scams going on with WhatsApp. Recently, someone did call me with a 611 number that was originally assigned to Mr. I can't really say who it was assigned to, but it was assigned to a government employee. And they tried to get me to send them some money. Now, I knew that number was not allowed in circulation anymore because the number was starting with 611. And all numbers like 411, 611, 911, they're specially reserved for special services. So we had to ask Digicel to remove those block-up numbers from services. So I was surprised that someone was contacting me on WhatsApp on a 611 number. So that basically goes to show that the number that's showing up on your telephone may not necessarily be the number that the call is originating from, because they're using all kinds of SIP technology, IP phone services, where they can spoof a telephone number. They can make the number appear to be any number they want it to be.
Q95 News has advised that customers can also guard against suspicious texts, as it is confirmed that these can come from known and unknown contacts. If you receive a suspicious text where the person claims to need help and requires finance, or sends you a link to click on requiring you to transfer funds, call the individual first before clicking or responding to confirm the person's identity. If the person does not answer to confirm their identity, as hackers never answer a call, you should then stop all further contact and report the number to WhatsApp, explaining that you believe this person's account has been hacked. Nesty also advised WhatsApp users what they could do to avoid getting scammed and to have the culprits tracked and investigated.
Everything can be traced. But in order, some with more difficulty than others. In order to trace that particular call, you would need the cooperation of the telecommunications providers. They would need to basically do a reverse lookup on the calls. Normally the telcos, they track the calls from a subscriber to a receiving party so they can bill you. So that's what their billing system is designed to do. If the call originated over IP, at some point it has to hit a gateway for it to get into what we call the public service telecommunications network. So it can originate from IP, it can originate anywhere in the world. Now the gateway may be in Dominica, and from that gateway it jumps over to Flo's network and then jumps to you. But because it's coming from that gateway, and then you have a lot of people who do funny things like SIM boxes. They buy a whole set of SIM cards and they install them in a box that's connected to the internet. And you can make a call from anywhere in the world, terminate on that box, and that box then calls the number in Dominica. And the call looks like it's coming from Dominica, but it's coming from anywhere, right? So in order to track these things, you would definitely need a concerted effort. You would need a collaborative effort with the providers, the victims, the law enforcement, and so forth.
Executive Director of the National Regulatory Telecommunications Commission in Dominica, Mr. Craig Nesti. Following vaccination week initiated by the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, on May 3rd, 2024, Dominica's Ministry of Health launched its own vaccination campaign in an effort to increase the number of vaccinations conducted on the island and ensure the country does not experience an outbreak in vaccine-preventable diseases like measles, polio, and hepatitis B. The Health Ministry's vaccine campaign began at the Newtown Health Center. Senior Community Health Nurse Florestine Lewis says the vaccinations are available for both adults and for children.
We are very concerned about our immunization coverage in Dominica, especially for our children who are under 5 years old. So I want to use this opportunity to encourage mothers with children to ensure that they are fully vaccinated. We're not just focusing on the children, we also extend it to the adults. So if you have not received your diphtheria and tetanus shot, we want to encourage you to come to the nurse, come to your facility.
Senior Community Health Nurse Florestine Lewis, you're tuned in with Q95 News. Dr. Thompson Fontaine has expressed concern regarding the recent announcement by DOASCO on the increase in water bills for already overburdened and overtaxed Dominicans. He particularly highlighted the abruptness of the imposition of the additional water charges and its potential impact on the economic stability of many Dominicans. Dr. Fontaine noted that while increases in utility bills are expected from time to time due to the constant rise in service costs, such charges are typically implemented gradually, unlike the abrupt imposition of this additional cost on consumers.
One of the problems that I have with the increase is just how big it is. You know, this one-time major increase that we see. While we cannot doubt that utilities will rise over time because obviously their costs are going up all the time, I think the way you normally do that is that you impose those increases gradually over time. So this year you put a 50 cents, next year you put $1. So at the end of a 10-year period, you get to where you want to do, rather than not do anything for 10 years and then on the 10th year just put in the $15. I think that is where the problem is. So, you know, because it comes as a shock, especially if your family, you know exactly what your water bill is roughly about. So if your water bill is roughly $55, that's already budgeted for. And then all of a sudden it moves from $55 to $70. You have to find this extra $15 somewhere, you know, to make up, you know. So it can throw people off, it can throw off budgets, it can disrupt people as well as it might appear to be. But $15 is probably a bus fare for a week for some students, you know. So it does matter, it counts.
Dr. Fontaine further commented that he had foreseen such increases for the Dominican populace following the release of the IMF's report on Dominica. However, he criticized the government for failing to provide citizens and particularly public officers with corresponding wage increases to align with increased charges implemented by utility companies.
The amount coming one time. Now, I did signal that when the IMF came out with the report some time ago, I did mention that that was going to come, that we would see increases in water. I also predicted that there's very good likelihood that we'll see the VAT being reintroduced on electricity and so on, and you're going to see those types of increases going along, because the problem that we have is, again, people's incomes not matching, not going up. So yeah, whilst I can fault the company for putting increases, I would fault them for putting it one time, and I would also fault our government for not giving persons normal increases that would allow them to be able to match those increases when it comes from the utility companies.
Financial economist and leader of the United Workers' Party, Dr. Thompson Fontaine. In sports news, national football coach Ellington Sabin told Q95 News earlier today that Dominica's performance against St. Vincent was a good one, considering that a more experienced group was chosen for the friendly match on May 2nd, 2024, leading to Dominica's victory 3-1. And on May 5th, 2024, the players selected to play that match were inexperienced but skilled. However, that team layout lost to St. Vincent 2-0. St. Vincent hosted Dominica for 2 friendly matches in preparation for the World Cup CONCACAF football qualifiers in the second qualifying round, which is to be held in June 2024. Coach Sabin says, regardless of the results on Sunday, he is confident that his players will continue to improve and win future games.
Well, the team has been in training since February, Mr. Farrell. The 2 friendly matches was a test of the team's performance. I mean, we normally have intense training in-house, but we got to test the team's performance and the team's style of play against external or foreign opponents. And Vincent took up the challenge to host us for 2 friendly matches on the 2nd and the 5th of May. The 2 games, the first one was result-oriented, meaning that we played more of the stronger players to ensure that we got the victory, to test the style of the system and the style versus the opponent. And the second match was more for exposure for those non-regular players that don't normally get a chance to play regularly. We just wanted to see how they perform, what they would do. They did fairly well, in my opinion. If you look at the game and the footage, you'd see they did fairly well. It's just 2 errors that resulted in the opponent scoring 2 goals. The opposing coach, we had a discussion after the game. He realized that the second team he played was not the team he played on Thursday. It also was a moral booster, a confidence booster for them, because they too are preparing for World Cup qualifying games around the same time that we are. And he was looking for information from me as to how he could improve and improve on his team and improve on his performance. I gave him some pointers. He, like I said, realized that the team we played on Sunday was not as strong as the team that was there on Thursday, and and even then realizing that he struggled to even perform against that team. So it's all as well for us going forward. I'm grateful for the players for the fight they put out for. They were grateful for the experience. Those that are not regular players were grateful for the experience and the time spent on the field to showcase their talent and their ability. And it was a good experience for the entire camp.
National football coach Ellington Sabin. In preparation for the highly anticipated ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024, the West Indies cricket team has revealed its 15-member squad, co-hosted by Caribbean nations and the United States of America. The tournament comprises or promises thrilling cricket action, with the Windies eyeing another title triumph. One of the notable inclusions in the squad is Shamar Joseph, who left a mark in his Test debut series against Australia earlier this year. Now, Joseph is all set to make his T20 debut, adding depth to the team's lineup. Making a comeback to the squad is Shimron Hetmyer, who missed the T20 series against Australia. Hetmyer's stellar performance in the opening IPL with the Rajasthan Royals have earned him a spot, showcasing his prowess as a finisher with 83 runs in 4 innings at an impressive strike rate of 184.44. However, there were some notable omissions as well. Kyle Mayers, who was part of the squad during the Australia series, was left out, with the team opting for a lower order batter over an opener. Additionally, pacer O'Shane Thomas failed to secure a spot on this squad. The top order positions are expected to be filled by Johnson Charles, Brandon King, and Shai Hope, while the Windies boast a formidable lineup of big hitters and all-rounders, including Nicholas Poran, Andre Russell, Shafan Rutherford, and Romario Sherpert, providing the team with ample options. In other news, Haitian-based airline Sunrise Airways is reportedly set to expand into the Eastern Caribbean with intra-regional flights connecting 4 destinations within the Eastern Caribbean, those islands being Antigua, Dominica, St. Kitts, and St. Lucia. The airline is privately owned by Haitian businessman, philanthropist, and pilot Philippe Bayard and is headquartered in Port-au-Prince. The carrier will begin the new service on May 25, 2024, utilizing EMB 120 twin turboprop aircraft, offering a maximum seating capacity of 30 passengers. The new Sunrise Airways flights will reportedly operate within the Eastern Caribbean every day except on Tuesday, with 2 flights daily connecting Antigua and Dominica, Antigua and St. Kitts, while the Antigua-St. Lucia service will operate once daily. Donald Trump's hush money trial continued in New York with the 3rd week of witness testimony. Prosecutors introduced crucial evidence by questioning Trump Organization ex-controller Jeffrey McCarney and an accounting employee named Deborah Tarasoff. Each of the 34 felony charges against Mr. Trump corresponds to an invoice, ledger entry, or check tied to reimbursing Michael Cohen for the hush money payment to Stormy Daniels. Today, we saw all those documents. The BBC's Nada Tawfik runs through documents shown in court and what it means for Donald Trump.
Documents don't lie. Prosecutors showed evidence that they say proves Trump cooked the books to conceal election crimes. Today in court, it turned from tales of conspiracy to cover-up as the former Trump Organization controller, Jeffrey McCarney, took the stand. McCarney detailed how he was called into a meeting with then CFO Alan Weisselberg in January of 2017. He said he was given a copy of Cohen's bank statement showing his $130,000 wire to Stormy Daniels' lawyer. McCarney's handwritten notes detailed the math that eventually led to Michael Cohen being reimbursed with $35,000 monthly over the course of a year. He also showed a series of emails, invoices, and ledger entries that are key pieces of evidence in the prosecution's case. That's because ultimately it's falsifying business records, not the hush money payment on its own that's at issue here. Trump's lawyers have claimed the payments to Cohen were for legitimate legal work, but McCarney testified he never saw a legal retainer agreement for Cohen. On cross-examination by the defense, McCarney said Weisselberg never told him what Cohen was seeking reimbursement for. So is there yet solid proof that Donald Trump was the architect? Jurors will still hear from more witnesses, including Michael Cohen himself.
All right, that's our midday news. Here's a recap of our headlines. Dominicans are angry at the new increases in monthly water charges, but the WASCO chairman, Louis Patrick Hill, says the decision to implement a water guarantee charge on consumers is justified. In sports news, national football coach Clinton Sabin extends support to the players of the Dominica national football team after their performance in the recent friendly match on May 5th, where they lost 2-0 to St. Vincent. Haitian-based airline Sunrise Airways is set to expand into the Eastern Caribbean with intra-regional flights connecting 4 Eastern Caribbean destinations.
The big station, Q95.
And Donald Trump's hush money trial continued in New York. The 3rd week of witness testimony amid allegations that Donald Trump may have burnt documents to avoid leaving evidence behind. The news brought to you with the very kind compliments of Court Dominica Limited.
Top of the hour news.
I am Richie Farrell. Up next, the weather report. Stay tuned.
Regional and global, only on Q95, the big station, Q95DA.com.
You've been putting off. Do it today with a loan of up to $20,000 from Quartz Ready Cash. No collateral needed. Flexible payment terms and fast approval. All you need is your ID, proof of address, job letter, payslip, and 2 references. Visit your nearest Quartz or Ready Cash location today or apply online at Quartz.com. Why wait? Get it done today at Quartz Ready Cash. We are ready when you are. Conditions apply.
And it's time for the weather update for today, May 7th, 2024. The winds are moving east to southeast at 10 to 25 kilometers per hour. Sea conditions are slight to moderate in open water. The waves are peaking 1 to 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. There is no warning advisory for Dominica at this time. The sunrise was at 5:39 a.m. The sunset will be at 6:25 p.m. Low tide at 9:07 a.m. and 8:37 p.m. High tide at 2:08 a.m. and 3:37 p.m. Forecast for this afternoon and tonight: partly cloudy to cloudy and hazy with some scattered showers. The synopsis: weak unstable conditions are affecting the area. Here's the weather outlook for Dominica and the Lesser Antilles, valid from 12 p.m. today, May 7th. Weak unstable conditions associated with a shear line are expected to affect Dominica during the next 24 hours. This is expected to result in cloudy periods with some scattered showers. A dense layer of Saharan dust is expected to linger across the region throughout the week, resulting in low visibility and poor air quality. People with respiratory sensitivities should take all the necessary precautions to avoid complications. Small craft operators venturing out to sea should take along the necessary equipment for safe navigation. Slight to moderate seas can be expected in open water, with swells peaking near 5 feet. That's the weather report. The notice board comes up next. The National Cultural Council and the Cultural Division invite nominations for the 2024 Golden Drum Awards. Persons, groups, or institutions being nominated that have made a positive and impactful contribution to the development of Dominica's culture for at least 20 years. Nominations are also invited for special recognition awards. Special recognition awards are issued to such persons, groups, and institutions that have made a contribution in culture for less than 20 years, and to those who have achieved notable successes in a particular field of arts and culture. Nomination forms are available at the Old Mill Cultural Center. Only completed nomination forms with all supporting documents received by June 7th, 2024 will be considered. Please submit to the Cultural Division Office located at the Old Mill Cultural Center at Canefield. You can email culture, that's Cultural Division Old Mill at gmail.com. And now stay tuned, we have 3 deaf announcements. announced the death of Gifford Anthony Paul, age 73, of Salisbury. He died on Friday, 26 April 2024, at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. He leaves to mourn his wife, Agnant Boland Paul, his children, Leah, Camilla in Antigua, Sani and Kendall Paul. Grandchildren, Harley Christopher in England, Germany Dorsley in Martinique, Jamali Elwa in St. Kitts, Arlia John Giles, Jeremy Harry, and Jelani Savre. Great-grandchildren, Dahlia and Adalia Sablon. Brothers-in-law, Rupert and Albert Boland in St. Martin, Tyrell Boland in Guadeloupe, sisters-in-law, Roma Boland in Guadeloupe, and Ernestine Boland in Tortola. Nieces, Rosette and Narelle John Charles. Nephew, Isaiah Loda. Other family members and close friends, the Paul family of Monrachet and Salisbury, Hector John, Drusilla Harry, Hughes John and family at home and abroad, Albert Dorsley in Martinique, Charlo Harry, Eddie Savre, Helen Thomas, Jeff Defoe, Shane Laura, Cynthia Frederick, Vernell Frederick, Davis and Agatha Shillingford, Julius and Tina John Charles, Ironia Grant, Vanti Vidal, Kelman and Angelina Vidal, Clarina Figaro and family, Merlin Alexander and family, Eva Hansen in the United States, Kent Louis, Keynes and Magali Cassius. The Boland family of Benz, Danley Smith, Derek Louis, Modestine Coffey and family, Fredderson Royer, members of the Salisbury, Roseau, Cochrane and Petit Savan Gospel Hall, former employees of the Dominica Social Security, doctors and nurses of the Salisbury Health Center. The body of the late Gifford Anthony Paul will be transported from Lyndhurst Funeral Home for viewing at 2:30 p.m. at the Salisbury Gospel Hall on Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. The funeral service begins at 3 p.m. and is followed by interment at the Salisbury Gospel Hall Cemetery. Q95 News extends sincere condolences to the family of the late Gifford Anthony Paul. It is with profound sadness we announce the passing of 35-year-old Benaiah Emerson Luke of Petit Soufriere, who resided at Stock Farm. He was popularly known as Big Ben, Bambi, or BB. He will be remembered by his mom, Shirley, his grandmother, Una, his adopted son, Assad, his adopted daughter, Quanisha, his special friend, Tammy, his sisters, Anika, Carlene, Mercia, and Fernella. His brother, Dennison in the United States, adopted sister, Hazel, his aunties, Dorothea, Elizabeth, Diane, Kathleen, Sandra, and Shanna. His uncles, Alpheus, Victor, Leroy, and Roy. He will be remembered by his nieces, Olivia, Grace, and Adea. Nephews, Jadang, Jeremiah, Jediah, Gabriel, DeAndre, and Zaniel. Brothers-in-law Roniel, Wayne, and Oliver. His cousins, including Naomi, Gersher, Naothi, Vernell, Perlin, Gershom, Julian, Simeon, Alvin, Michaela, Malia, Raisha, Malaika, and Alexia. Close friends Hannah, Felicia, Garon, Sherry, and family, Nancy, Natalia, Diana, Karina, Bronia in Trinidad and Tobago. Other relatives and friends including Danny and the John Baptist family, Gary, Aurelia, Renaya, Mikey, Ernest, Bertley, Richardson, Zephaniah, and the Benjamin family, Honorable Kazani Laville, the Stock Farm bus drivers, college students and passengers of the Stock Farm route, members of the Church of God, Seventh Day Island-wide, and the Caribbean region. Other relatives and friends, names too numerous to mention. The funeral of the late Benaiah Emerson Luke will take place on the 9th of May 2024 at the Truth and Grace Fellowship Global Church. Viewing will commence at 2 p.m. and the church service at 2:30 p.m., followed by interment at the Roseau Public Cemetery. Funeral arrangements is entrusted to Gentle Rest Funeral Service, Inc. And Q95 News extends sincere condolences to the family of Benaiah Emerson Luke. We also announced the death of 82-year-old Frank Clement Langlaise of Collio. He died on Monday, April 29, 2024, at the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. Funeral details for the late Frank Clement Langlaise will be given in a subsequent announcement. Q95 News extends sincere condolences to the family of the late Frank Clement Langlaise. And that concludes the community notices and announcements for this afternoon. I've been your presenter, Richie Farrell, with the Q95 News team. Wishing you a pleasant afternoon.